Okay, so today we'll talk about landscape architect, not to say a gardener of genius, André Le Notre. It is his birthday, and a very interesting artist of our time, ANISH Kapoor. But we'll start with André Le Notre, and let's read a little bit about him. So André Le Notre, I'm not reading the pronunciation. This is the pronunciation. André Le Notre, born on the 12th of March, 1613. So that is 410 years ago. Was a French landscape architect and the principal gardener of King Louis Le Soleil, Louis XIV of France, the Sun King. He was the landscape architect who designed the gardens of the Palace of Versailles. His work represents the height of the French formal garden style, or jardin à la française. Prior to working on Versailles, Le Notre collaborated with Louis Le Vau and Charles Le Brun on the park of Vaux-le-Vicomte. His other works include the design of gardens and parks at Chantilly, Fontainebleau, Saint-Cloud, and Saint-Germain. His contribution to planning was also significant. At the Tuileries in Paris, he extended the westward vista, which later became the Avenue of the Champs-Élysées and comprised the Axe Historique. This was the man, not yet with a head, but you can tell from his hands that he was a royal presence and a royal figure. He lived a long life. I think he died at 86 or so, or 87. He was a remarkable man. The truth is, I love André Le Notre. At Versailles, I love the gardens, but not the chateau, not the building or the buildings. I like the garden. The garden are superior to the buildings. Here he is, at the Tuileries in Paris, a statue with him and André Le Notre, auteur de ce jardin. List of principal gardens by Le Notre. You see, it's a prestigious list. Versailles, Vaux-le-Vicomte, Château de Saint-Germain-en-Laye, Château de Saint-Cloud, Palais de Tuileries, Château de Sceaux, Château de Fontainebleau, Château de Chantilly, Château de Bercy, Château de Chambonat, Château d'Issy. Strange, this word, demolished. Well, the chateau was demolished, but not the gardens, I hope. Although I'm sure gardens get destroyed as well. Vaux-le-Vicomte. Truly, his landscapes are beautiful. They are visionary, without doubt. In my opinion, the gardens of André Le Notre exceed, the expectations one would have, about a garden. Of course, they were built, they were made. I don't think you can easily say build. How could you build a garden? You can make a garden, but that they actually, of course, they are for special characters, king or very high top level people in France who afforded such huge areas. But the vision of the garden is sublime. Versailles. I mean, look at the plan of Versailles, and the palace, the chateau is here. These small things, and practically the gardens take over all the interest. This is minuscule. It's almost not here. But the gardens, and look at the modernity of the diagonals. I mean, graphically is formidable. And then it was, of course, it became a physical place. The famous gardens of Versailles. I went 2 or 3 times there, and I never entered the building. I was always absorbed by the gardens. Sometimes maybe I should regret that I didn't enter the buildings. The last time I went with some students from the University of Architecture here, and we simply couldn't get in this space in front of the buildings. There were so many, tourists, how do you call them? Those huge vehicles transporting tourists from all over the world. This was, of course, before the pandemic. It's one of the ultimate destinations. The McDonald's observed this very quickly with its astute spirit, and there is a McDonald's not far away from somewhere here in the plan of Versailles, or maybe here even. So pathetic, this McDonald's. Why should the French accept McDonald's here when they have an incredible cuisine, to bring the vulgarity of that fast food in the proximity of Versailles? Anyway, the gardens are, but we'll come back to the gardens of Versailles because there is much to say. Chantilly, it's another, but you see, it's like André Le Notre wanted to take over the whole world. It's like the infinite is the limit. Gardens of Chateau d'Issy. It must be beautiful, actually, to create designs for gardens for people who can afford such huge spaces. Some pictures that attracted my attention. Of course, these are not by André Le Notre, but I like these romantic ruins. Where nature, in the end, climbs on the ruined buildings and asserts itself. All postcards are nice, as far as I can tell. This is from, well, I don't know when the picture was taken, probably, before 1885, when Mr. Benz in Germany created the first personal car, of course, the Mercedes-Benz, 1885. Until 1885, there were no, private automobiles. And here we see just a carriage. Different times. André Le Notre, you can create astonishing ornaments with plants as well. It is called, his design is called formal gardening, and it is formal because there is the will of the creator to use various geometries and in opposition or in contrast with the British garden, which is very, informal in a way. It's kind of strange because you would expect the French, who are also Latins, and they are somewhere in between, the Germans and the Italians, to be more, temperamental or so. But in fact, in the art of gardening, the French are very formal, not to say strict, and the British are, very, very informal. Anyway, André Le Notre, as I said, and this is not that I say it, many people said it, had genius, and he was the ultimate gardener. No wonder the Sun King Louis Le Soleil, Louis XIV, chose him to design for him forever and ever and ever and ever. Anyway, gardens of Chateau de Chambona. I saw myself just 3 gardens by André Le Notre: Versailles, Tuileries, and Fontainebleau. But I have to say they are magnificent. they are therapeutic. Walking through a garden by André Le Notre brings calm upon you, and you feel less alone because it is a garden which celebrates, I think, the meeting between the earth and the sky. Gardens of Chateau de Bercy. You know what's interesting about these gardens is that their sheer size overwhelms the building. Even if the building is not so small, but it almost disappears in the landscape, in the designed landscape. Usually we do the garden after we do the building, right? We first do the building as architects, and then if we still have some energy and some creativity and a little bit of money, we work around the building a little bit on the garden. But here it's almost like the building is an appendix to the garden. It's almost like a second thought. The building, not the garden. Gardens of Chateau de Chantilly. Look at this. This is a cosmic garden. This is made for extraterrestrials. You know, I imagine the unidentified flying objects, you know, approaching the earth and seeing these gardens, which seem to send a vertical message to them. They are formidable, but you can imagine, you know, what efforts and what costs for maintaining this, you know, designed landscape. Because it looks beautiful like this, but this requires a lot of maintenance, maybe more than a building. It's splendid. And contemplating these landscapes, these design landscapes, these cosmic gardens by André Le Notre, you have the feeling somehow that although they were designed by a man, by a human being, that somehow they proclaim the supremacy of nature over architecture, nature over man. The building is not to be ignored itself, but the gardens are, and they are sensitive, but they are also abstract. Gardens of Chateau de Fontainebleau. I was here, not for a long time, unfortunately. Now I regret I didn't spend more time. I was with 3 students. We rented a car and we were moving towards Lyon to see the architecture of Lyon and then La Tourette by Le Corbusier and so on. But we only spent an hour or so in these gardens. They are sublime. Very, very large spaces. And yes, the kings of France loved Fontainebleau, and so do the tourists who go there. But the level I don't know how to say it, you know. I mean, it is gardening, you know, it's the art of gardens. But these gardens are elevated, you know, beyond what we usually think when we think about a garden. You know, it's an exterior that is in no way inferior to the buildings they are made around, and in a way they are more pure and more maybe I'm not totally wrong in saying that they are cosmic gardens. Gardens of Chateau de Sceaux. André Le Notre. Is this aesthetical language obsolete? I don't think so at all. You know, I look at this picture and I would say this could be even a modern design. Look at these manicure trees. You know, I mean, it's rather surprising that you know, Latin creators like the French are would need this geometrization of nature. I'm not sure this word exists, geometrization, but you understand. In my opinion, no effort should be um, dismissed in the quest for beauty. If we want to arrive at beauty, we shouldn't be stingy. We should allocate all the efforts, all the means that we have, all the energies we have. Is there a better purpose? I think Dostoevsky was right. Beauty will save the world. Gardens of Palais de Tuileries in Paris, between Champs-Élysées and the Louvre. In my opinion, this is less impressive than you know, those outside of Paris, because it's an urban context and there are many distractions and it's smaller, and but still these gardens matter. Jardin des Tuileries, and you see there in the background the Louvre, but you also see countless people. So here is André Le Notre at gardens at Tuileries in Paris. Here we see the glass pyramid by I.M. And here you see the obelisk in Place de la Concorde. So, you know, the garden that André Le Notre designed is here, not as large, of course, as what we saw earlier. Gardens of Chateau de Saint-Cloud. It's rather strange because you think probably that, you know, bushes or trees, if they are cut in this way, you know, following strong geometry, they would become almost unacceptable. But in a strange way, perhaps, the French design, the formal design of gardens is not actually, I mean, you know, factually speaking, is rigid, but because the matter with which it operates, meaning you know, plant material, it's warm, it's not cold, it's not rigid, taming nature. In a way, it's about that, taming nature. Gardens of Chateau de Saint-Germain-en-Laye. I mean, I think this man would have loved to cover the whole earth with his cosmic gardens. André Le Notre. There is no asphalt here. It's all earth, you know, as it should be. Gardens of Vaux-le-Vicomte. Here is a famous castle, chateau, and a famous garden. very famous. Vaux-le-Vicomte, André Le Notre. Really, I think these gardens were made to be seen from space by extraterrestrials or by Elon Musk and his friends on their way towards Mars. André Le Notre, bravo to him. If everyone on this earth would have the chance to take a walk through such gardens, let's say once every week or better even a few times a week, or better even once a day, Dr. Sigmund Freud probably would not be necessary any longer, because it's very therapeutic, really. It brings serenity to your soul. It brings peace. But since we are not, we are mere mortals, not gods, not kings and queens, the chance of doing that is very, very small, if at all. Château de Vaux-le-Vicomte, Jardin du Château de Vaux-le-Vicomte. I wonder if Monsieur Putin reflects on such images, no? If he knows, if he's interested in, beauty at all. And if he is, why does he wage such a horrible war? I don't understand these politicians. And look at the section through the park, the longitudinal section. So you see, it's not flat, the land. I mean, there are sophistications here. I'm not an expert in gardens, far from it. But I would encourage anyone who has a liking for studying landscape design to further study the complexities and the sophistications of André Le Notre's design. Because these differences in I mean, avoiding the flatness of the terrain does have an effect on your perceptions in space. If you are there, I didn't visit this garden, but I imagine that it's what he did, André Le Notre did with a reason. He didn't just excavate earth and create these differences in the altitude of various platforms that he worked with. There were intentions here, and that's why he's considered one of the greatest landscape designers ever, if not the best. the gardens of Versailles. We already saw a plan, and now we'll see other images. I mean, you can spend easily a week or two or even a month just walking through the gardens of Versailles. Better still when there are less tourists, but you know, it's impossible to stop people going to Versailles if they are in France. It's impossible. It's one of the major attractions in France. I wonder what the king felt, you know, since his site would have no frontier to hit. You know, it would just from his castle, he would just look towards the infinite, and probably his feeling that he was immortal was increased. The palace doesn't impress me, but the gardens do. Look at the magnificent trees. They probably accepted the surgeries of the clinician André Le Notre, you know, his interventions. It is an imago mundi in a way. What is here, you know, it's the image. It's an image of the world, the whole world. You have to explore it and reflect and meditate and sit on a bench, or you know, just just wonder about what it means to live on this earth. I wonder if the king, Louis Le Soleil, Louis the Sun King, ever thought that one day, you know, after he died, this great estate would be filled with tourists from all over the world. Again, the palace is here. It's just this. Well, here to the right is the city of Versailles. And from here to the left, the beginning of the gardens, which extend more to the left than this picture shows, as you can see. So this is the palace right here. And everything here is the garden, is the work of André Le Notre and countless people whose names we do not know, but they contributed to the majestic design and its implementation. Could one die because of too much beauty? Maybe. If you are not accustomed to so much beauty, you might have you know, strong emotions, and yes. Could one die because of too much happiness? Maybe. Anyway, I don't know. We don't know, but yes, the gardens of Versailles are the gardens of Versailles. Personally, I would have liked these statues to be less white and less pristine. They probably cleaned them up just as they cleaned the facade of the western facade of Notre Dame de Paris, the famous cathedral, which became too white, in my opinion, and too clean. I prefer cathedrals to show the passage of time, and the statues also. They are, they are too clean, in my opinion. I'm sure people work on them to remain so. I think if they had the patina, they would have connected better with the trees, the vegetation, the plants. Anyway, this is my opinion. Like this, they look a little bit artificial, artificious. But they are not the works of André Le Notre. Les Jardins de Versailles, de Versailles, of de Versailles, I'm not sure, but the Gardens of Versailles, Les Jardins de Versailles, probably the, or probably the. I'm beginning to forget the little French I used to know. Um, anyway, water, sculptures, statues, and people, tourists, 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 and the genius of André Le Notre, bringing everything together. It's quite a celebration, really, this work. You see, I think they are better like this instead of white. There are even cruel scenes. You are going to see what I'm trying to talk about, because there is cruelty in nature as well. Why does you know, the wolf kill the deer? Why does the big fish eat the small fish? As you can see here, the lion kills the other animal. There is conflict, there is pain, there is suffering, and then there is beauty, as if there is some kind of necessary relationship between the two somehow. I mean, you see here, you know, the anguish, the defeated animal, and the, you know, the conqueror is the same in human affairs. One falls and the other one triumphs, and it seems this story never ends. I wonder what André Le Notre and his collaborators thought when they included such statues in the gardens of Versailles. Yes, there is cruelty in nature as well. Maybe these were included in order to um, make us aware that everything is, you know, ephemeral, and that there is death. And now a photographic journey by this artist, Laurie Victor Kay. I like her photographs taken at Versailles, so I included them here, Trees of Versailles. Avenue of Trees, the most beautiful avenue, if we are to call it avenue. Okay, and now we'll go to, let's wish happy birthday again to André Le Notre. And now we'll go to the second presentation of a very different artist, a contemporary artist, Anish Kapoor. This is the man, born in India, but working and creating in England. So, Sir Anish Mikhail Kapoor is a British Indian sculptor of installation art and conceptual art, born in Mumbai. Kapoor attended the elite all-boys Indian boarding school, the Doon School, before moving to the UK to begin his art training at Hornsey College of Art and later Chelsea School of Art and Design. His notable public sculptures include Cloud Gate from 2006, also known as The Bean, in Chicago's Millennium Park, Sky Mirror, exhibited at the Rockefeller Center in New York City in 2006, and Kensington Gardens in London, 2010. Then we see the other, achievements in various places. Commissioned as a permanent, this ArcelorMittal Orbit, and you are going to see it, commissioned as a permanent artwork for London's Olympic Park and completed in 2012. In 2017, Kapoor designed the statuette for the 2018 Brit Awards. An image of Kapoor features in the British Cultural Icons section of the newly designed British passport in 2015, and he was announced as a recipient of the Lennon-Ono Grant for Peace. Kapoor has received several distinctions and prizes, such as the Premio Duemila Prize, the Venice Biennial in 1990, the Turner Prize in 1991, knighthood in the 2013 birthday honors for services to visual arts, an honorary doctorate degree from the University of Oxford in 2014, and the Genesis Prize for being one of the most influential and innovative artists of his generation, and for his many years of advocacy for refugees and displaced people. This is very nice of him, that he didn't forget those who need not to be forgotten. In 1973, he left India for Britain to attend Hornsey College of Art and Chelsea School of Art and Design. There he found a role model in Paul Neagu, a Romanian artist who provided a meaning to what he was doing. This I should investigate further, but it would be interesting to see in what way Paul Neagu influenced Kapoor. Now I I chose the easy road, maybe too easy a little bit. I found this website which describes 15 iconic projects by this artist and Anish Kapoor. So I didn't invent anything. I just took them down, these 15 iconic projects, and the authorship belongs to this website, Rethinking the Future. Cloudgate. Although this aesthetic marvel feels deserted today amid I didn't write the text, but the author of the article about Kapoor wrote it. Amid the global pandemic crisis, we witness Cloudgate, also famously known as the Bean, still communicates with us through its super reflective stainless steel body. The most intriguing part of this artwork lies in its quality of reflecting our materialist finite world. It possesses an intense interactive character that any spectator can feel while glooming under it. And here it is. Anish Kapoor. Chicago. The Void Field, exhibited at the British Pavilion in 1990, Void Field is amongst the earliest works which showcase Kapoor's obsession with voids in particular. A true minimalist art piece which contradicts the immense mass of the sandstone with a small yet impactful void created using black pigment in the middle of those stones. This black dot is a metaphoric representation of any potential dark space within. We are going to see a little bit later also some architectures built by Kapoor. So he is a sculptor and a creator of installations, art installations, but he also has a relationship with architecture which is not insignificant. Shooting into the corner. This art piece is nothing but a precise portrayal of a story that defines tension, aggression, and depth. Kapoor has collaborated many times with people from different streams to present his art, and this is just a result of the same. A fully functional cannon made to literally shoot tons of wax colored in red gives the art an emotional intensity, while on the other hand, the cannon works as a silent catalyst to trigger those emotions. And here it is, the cannon shooting at the corner with the help of a technician or an artist, I don't know. But this is the result of shooting the corner. Maybe Mr. Putin should see some pictures of this artwork and reflect on his glorious tragedy that he initiated. Because this is exactly what war does. It's terrible. But Mr. Putin still wears a cross around his neck, as a good Christian he is. It is a remarkable artwork. Bravo to this born in India artist and living and working in Great Britain. Series of sky mirrors. There are quite a few fascinating sculptures of this series around the globe, coming in different sizes and shapes. Although having the same theme of a tilted, highly polished, reflective body looking towards the sky, they all offer something different than its counterpart. While its base property may be its reflection, there is a paradox associated with it. What they actually represent is a gateway contrasting with its surrounding that takes the viewer to distant possibilities through the void created by the mirror. I wonder what André Le Notre would have thought of these artworks. If he lived today, André Le Notre, could we imagine that maybe he would have commissioned ANISH Kapoor to, create some art for his gardens? It's possible. It's possible that even present day Louis Le Soleil might have liked it. A Louis Le Soleil dressed in jeans and with a t-shirt, of course. Anish Kapoor. Dismember, dismemberment site. Till date, the dismemberment site benches as the largest sculpture in the never-ending list of works done by Anish Kapoor, spanning 6 years of engineering and installation work. By the way, I understood initially he wanted to become an engineer, and he began studying engineering, but gave up because he was not very good at math, from what I understood. Anyway, two equivalents, horizontal and vertical elliptical shaped openings on either side of the sculpture are entry points to a viewer's perspective. Placed subtly in correspondence with the landscape of the site, the PVC sheet casing over the sculpture, painted in blood red, gives it a visual appeal and different contexts one may associate it with. And here it is. It's huge, as you can see, the silhouette of the human being. I don't know how to read this. Swayambhu, I guess. Evolved from the natural phenomena that certain things in life are created within themselves. Swayambhu is a Sanskrit derivation, a movable sculpture made to present its form of creation. It is carved out of red pigmented wax. The color that signifies fire, blood, and even love is symbolically related to the vision of any spectator looking at it. The hidden mechanism that runs behind the mobility of this sculpture is a key factor in representing its base concept of self-creation. Well, without this explanation, it would have been cryptical, and I think it's still cryptical. Double vertigo, a reflective stainless steel material involving two curved surfaces, makes up the double vertigo. If we ought to break down the literal meaning of this artwork, vertigo signifies the loss of balance and in a binary manner. The sculpture produces an infinite expansion of vision which creates an illusion within, challenging our understanding of the art. It communicates with the viewer more on a conceptual level than visual. Building for void, as the name suggests, the building is an upright superstructure for the void. A leeway for a non-existing space is what it is. The enormous empty room within the structure possesses the strength to soak you in it, immersing fear throughout, or even a place to practice solitude. As is the creator of it quoted, saying, void is really a state within. And this is the big room, and you are going to see, because it is a building, also from the outside, he seems to have an intense interest in this black hole, of various diameters. This is the model of the structure of the building that he built. And this is how it looks like from the outside. Marsyas, derived from Greek mythological story, the single-span PVC membrane that runs throughout the enclosed space of the hall is a symbolic portrayal of the live, flayed skin of satyr who dared to contest the god of music, Apollo, and lost. Because of its huge scale, the sculpture presents a mystery to any viewer who inclines to find the correlation between our objective body and the metaphysical space that exists. It's huge. He is a very interesting creator, Anish Kapoor. Do you see the human silhouette? And do you realize how big this is? Dissension. Working with any kind of natural phenomenon like water may not be a thing for other sculptors, but Kapoor dared to do that and created a synthetic focal point within the circular swirling water flow. There have been several evolving versions of this art piece since its inauguration in 2014. If you do see a conceptual void in this, you aren't mistaken. Now, this is the structure that I showed on my invitation, decorated as the highest standing piece of public art in England. The ArcelorMittal Orbit is Kapoor's most known work in the architecture community. The base purpose of the structure was to serve as a viewing tower for the Summer Olympics of 2012, which it did in quite some style, also inviting critics articulating about its appearance. The spiral staircase is the selling point of this artwork, giving users a sense of stability and loss of balance at the same time. So stability and instability simultaneously. Anish Kapoor. Tarantara. Kapoor's site-specific installations have always come with some unique perspectives. Tarantara is just the same. Transferred to reality in 1999 for the Baltic Center for Contemporary Art, the sculpture reflects an inside-out building, which from the outside seems smaller, and once inside showcases its real scale. The shape of this artwork transfers from rectangular to circular in contraction. C-curve. C-curve is yet another example where Kapoor has opted to use a reflective surface to present his vision in an unorthodox manner. This installation reflects using a concave and convex surface on the inner and outer sides respectively, causing an illusion made by the inverted reflection on the inner side of the curve. This upside down impression challenges the fixed perspective we tend to have about certain things in life. Arc of Nova, a combined effort along with architect Arata Isozaki, who received the Pritzker Prize 1 or 2 years ago and died some months ago. Arc of Nova, meaning last year, Arc of Nova is a mobile theater catering to at least 500 audiences. Built 2 years after the horrendous earthquakes that hit Japan in 2011, this architecture creation was made to develop hope and symbol of recovery through music and art, rebuilding the culture and spirit. Also, the polyester membrane used as the sole material for its creation breeds a suitable atmosphere within the theater. The highlight of this project is that it is portable. Arc of Nova. So he worked with Arata Isozaki for this project. It is an inflated thing, quite large, as you can see. And yes, portable. But there is a black hole here as well, if one sees it from above. And this is the last work I show, Dirty Corner. Quite a few artworks of Anish Kapoor have been the talk of the town in both good and bad ways. But Dirty Corner can be said as the most controversial one. The 60-meter long tunnel that fabricates the sculpture takes the visitor into a dark space, a void, where without any reference of light, the visitors need to explore it utterly on his or her senses. While being subjected to vandalism a couple of times, Kapoor defines this act as the evolution process of art itself, where it might have been demanding it in the first place. This also brings us to the ultimate question, that should there be any distinguishing line between public interest and artistic liberties one may take? This does look like a André Le Notre garden, doesn't it? Maybe it is. And finally, Anish Kapoor, part of it. Happy birthday, Anish Kapoor.